It's just simply that you're extremely selective in what you present in your draft, admittedly draft article that you've chosen to put online. You don't represent the accurate
Let me
thing.
go ahead and answer his question, because I know we're getting short on time.
No. We have plenty of time.
Okay. Well, first of all, would you allow me just to address the vet detective for a minute?
Sure. Would you like to address the article first? I think that probably would be the most fair, since we just brought that up.
Okay, I'm sorry, what was the question then?
Graham?
Well, I read out on air various passages in your article where you misrepresent me.
No, I didn't.
Sorry?
No, I didn't misrepresent you.
You didn't misrepresent me. Okay, so.
In fact, you said that I said that I was actually talking about someone in Indonesia when I said you didn't understand Newton's physics.
No, I didn't say. I'm sorry. I didn't say you were talking about someone in Indonesia. I said you were talking about Jesus Gamara in Peru. Is who I was talking about. And Jesus Gamara does have very exotic views on gravitation, which I state seriously are not my interest. I do say he may be right, but I don't say he's right. I say this is not my interest, and I go on to say what my interest in this is his work. You pick up that.
You're drowning me out here. I was asked to explain whether or not I thought I was misleading. And I don't think I was misleading. You clearly stated there that maybe gravity was due to the way we've changed orbits around the sun. Gravity is not due to that. It's due to the mass and the inverse of what do you mean?
I don't state that. Jesus Gamara states that, and I say I disagree with it.
Come on.
I say
Well,
I disagree
anyway,
with it.
I want to be respectful. I can't really hear you when I'm talking. I apologize, but I feel like you are selectively changing the meaning of what I'm saying.
Well, why don't you quote me as these words from my text? When you say that I buy the gravity thing of Jesus Gamara, why don't you quote me when I say...
I said just the opposite of that.
What I go on to say, not quoted in the attack, is the following, quote, however, this isn't the part of his theory I'm interested in. Where I feel he is solidly persuasive is in his observations of the anomalous character of the monuments of the Andes. I am not pinning anything on Jesus Gamara's gravitational ideas. I am saying very clearly what it is in his approach that I am interested in. I'm not going to dismiss all of his approach because he has an approach on gravity that you don't like. That's not even of interest to me, and I say so in the book. You don't report that, therefore I suggest you misrepresent it.
Well, Mr. Hancock, what I brought up him for was simply to state that you didn't understand, and I say it right there, that you don't understand Newton's physics.
But I'm not even talking about Newton's. I'm not
as
talking
a
about.
scientist if you don't understand Newton's simple physics.
I'm not
the laws of Newton.
If I wished to make an argument about gravity, I wouldn't go saying that isn't the part of Jesus Gamara's theory that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the other aspect of his work, his observations through years of field work.
My point was simply to point out that you didn't understand Newton mechanics. We're not talking about this guy.
You're completely wasting time here.
Okay, Graham, the way the article is...
Hold on a second. Hold on. What these guys talking about?
We did misrepresent. We did.
Yeah.
The way the sentence is structured, it's clearly out of context. We're going to change that.
Yeah, I was taken out of context, and that's what I'm objecting.
Mark, I'm not sure why he included it in the book in the first place, but he's not arguing about gravity at all. So we will fix that. Maybe we can get straight to the flooding thing that
As long as Graham is fine with that. I mean, Graham, I know there was something else.
Well, yeah, the other thing that I find to be misrepresenting is that the statement, yet Hancock makes the following stunning claim, quote, our ancestors are being initiated into the secrets of metals and how to make swords and knives. What Mark DeFab does not tell his readers is that I make that claim. I don't make that claim. I am actually reporting what is said in the Book of Enoch. That's not me who's saying that. That's the Book of Enoch.
Graham, we'll fix that.
Okay. Otherwise, let's get back to the main bit of this, for God's sake.
Okay.
Just give me the list of things that, and I'll fix it. We'll fix it. Because that's not the point.
Well, Mark, you're obviously very critical of Graham's work, and maybe erroneously so. But let's get to what you think about what you've heard so far.
All right, Mr. Rogan. I don't want to come across as a pompous scientist. What I want to do is I want to protect people from these grandiose assumptions. Graham in his first, Mr. Hancock in his first book.
Please call me Graham.
Fingerprints.
Please call me Graham.
Okay, Graham in his first book, in Fingerprints, suggested that there was a continent where this civilization lived, and through some machinations, this continent went south and ended up destroying that civilization. Well, as a geologist, that's just nonsense. And now he comes back and he wants us to believe that he was all wrong. And then all of a sudden, it's okay now to believe in comet strikes that show this famous civilization that's supposed to exist.
So Mark,
this is duping people. I don't know if he means to do it, but he certainly seems to be duping.
Mark, all my work is in print and online. I mean, I gather that you see your role as a protector for the public. Obviously, you feel that the public are not intelligent enough to make discerning decisions of their own in this respect.
No,
however, to
I'm
address...
saying that the public doesn't understand the science
so
to the degree that you're misrepresenting.
So they need the superior knowledge of Mark Defant in order to understand it.
No,
Well, fine.
I think they need the knowledge of science.
Okay, well, that's
not
okay.
the knowledge that I have.
Let me come to your point, which is you're saying that I proposed one mechanism for cataclysm in Fingerprints of the Gods, and that I'm proposing another mechanism for cataclysm today. What I proposed in Fingerprints of the Gods was that there had been a gigantic cataclysm in the ballpark of 12,500 years ago. I looked at a number of possibilities, of which the most striking to me at the time was Earth crust displacement. And Earth crust displacement is reported, is the work of Charles Hapgood, not my work, but I do report it in Fingerprints of the Gods as an excellent theory which explains the information. Since I wrote Fingerprints of the Gods, I've learned a lot. And I wouldn't want to defend that theory strongly today. I don't know if you have bought the latest edition of my book, the paperback edition of Magicians of the Gods, but it contains a chapter saying whatever happened to Earth crust displacement. I addressed the change of view in this, and I think I have a right to change my view, and I think it's healthy that, I mean, why would I stick permanently to a view that I hold in 1995 if new evidence persuades me that it's wrong? I'm sure that's a good thing, not a bad thing, and fundamental proposition is we had a massive global cataclysm in the ballpark of 12,500 years ago, so naturally it's of great interest to me when a large group of scientists, more than 60 of them, over a period of more than 10 years now, present evidence of a massive comet impact event 12,800 years ago, exactly in the
that's
window
how
I
you're
proposed.
slippery. You are implying that there are a lot of people out there that believe in this. There are some people that believe in it, and I agree, but for the most part, I think taking an honest view, the comet hypothesis has gotten debunked.
Well, that's complete rubbish, Mark. That's complete rubbish.
I would also point out that in Fingerprints, you had people believing that the end of the world was coming in 2012. Now, how am I supposed to take you seriously when you say things like that and then change your mind? We could all be dead by now
Yes,
if we believed you.
I have absolutely changed my mind on the Mayan calendar. I regard the Mayan calendar as an interesting technological artifact with a better estimate of the length of the solar year than the estimate that we have with today. The Mayan calendar is based primarily on the position of the sun amongst the constellations at the winter solstice. And we are in an 80-year window when the sun sits astride the dark rift of the Milky Way between the constellations of Sagittarius and Scorpio on the winter solstice. That window is 80 years wide, so the story of the Mayan calendar, by the way, isn't actually quite over yet. And I'm not...
Means?
Yes, I know exactly what precession means.
Okay, well, all of this stuff that you claim is on a precession. A precession is the Earth spinning like a top.
Don't teach
It
me
has
how to
nothing
suck
to
eggs.
do with running through comet clouds, and yet you're saying that somehow we're on some sort of cycle where the comets are going to come back and strike the Earth right now, sometime during the next 40 years. That's what you said in Magicians.
No, that's what Victor Klug and Bill Napier and Emilio Spedicato say.
Don't blame this
I'm a
on other
reporter.
people. You're the one that said it in your
I'm-
book. You just
I'm-
got all over
and I make-
Mr. Sherman, Michael Sherman for for saying the same things about other people. I want to know what you think.
But Mark,
you tell me what you think.
I am a reporter, and I make it very clear
You
in the...
can't cop out on it.
I'm
You're
not
talking
copping out.
science.
Let me
You're
finish.
talking about science.
Mark, we can't talk over each other
I
like this.
am a reporter, and it is my job to report the work of other people, and I report the work of Victor Klug, Bill Napier, and Emilio Stedicato, all of whom draw attention to the torrid meteor stream, and who regard it as the greatest collision hazard facing the Earth at this time, and who specifically indicate that we may run into a filament of the torrid meteor stream in the next 30 years that is going to be very bad for our civilization.
It
It's
has
not my...
nothing to do with precision.
It's,
Procession.
when did I say it had anything to do with procession?
You have a whole
It's
section
not
on
called...
procession
Yes,
in Magicians of the Dawn.
indeed, as a clock, as a timer, as a way of going back through the ages, but I'm not saying precession is causing this encounter with the torrid meteor stream, and go find the paragraph where I say that.
No. What you're saying is that we're on a cycle. That 12,000 years ago, this civilization was destroyed, and now you're saying, that civilization was so smart that they knew we were going to go through another shower, and we're all doomed in the next 40 years.
Yeah.
And you didn't say doomed in Magicians like you did in Fingerprints, but we must conclude that that's